All right, welcome to an early morning video. I'm going to point out Dave's Garage is one of my favorite channels on YouTube. It's Dave Plummer. He's a old school Microsoft developer. He basically the foundations of Windows operating system. A lot of them, he was the this isn't the he was the ass in seat. So he was sitting down and writing this and developing these at the beginning. So really like kind of famous person to hear from in the computer science space. I definitely as I've said many times in this channel, what I recommend when you hear a big name in computer science space, look for them on LinkedIn, look for them on YouTube, and you might get a surprise, and you might find out that they actually have a really well established online presence. And that's not how I came about Dave Plummer, but that's something I say to do on this channel. So yeah, he's giving very clear instructions for setting up a local version of ChatGPT on your machine. It can run on a potato offline, or it can run on, this is Dave Plummer we're talking about, so it can run on a borrowed PC from a major tech company that can go to the moon. So let's continue with the Mbsr training now. If you're taking like a course, a high school, college, you can still get an A in the course, even if you get like a 92%. You can still get a B. You get a B. You really don't have to complete that much. You can complete like 80% of the course and still get a B. So if you only do a fraction of the expectations, and you don't do everything perfectly, you still get a good grade. So that's kind of how I've been seeing it, because unfortunately week 5 this kind of turned into a unpleasant hard slog for me. Kind of the excitement for it really went away. There's been the secular nature of it, I think, has been kind of abandoned a little bit. A lot of it is kind of it comes from Buddhism, which is fine. Like the Bayes theorem came from a Catholic priest, so like that's not a problem. But it's just been kind of difficult to get through. I've been spending about an hour a day on it, and this is a tech channel, so I'm already kind of veering off course, and it's not easy. So because and then the other thing I need to say is, for the formal practice, they want you to do one of these, and those are hard. It's a half-hour commitment per day of just sitting still and like meditating, and I found that's the hardest part. So we gotta get a B for this week. If we look at the expectations I go in my folder here and I look at the expectations for the formal exercise for week 6. We can see that for the week, which for me is Monday through Sunday, the expectation is to practice at least 6 times doing a body scan, yoga, or sitting, but then also to do the mountain or the lake at least once. So we can see I came very close to meeting those expectations. I did the lake meditation at least once. I did it twice, and then did the body scan, the sitting, and the body scan. So I just had one more to do it. So I did it 5 out of the 6 times that they wanted. So that's an 83%. So if we go to ChatGPT and we say, provide for me some common cutoffs for grading. For example, To get an A, you need a 92%. So here's some common cutoffs for in percentage. Now they went with okay. So an A can be as low as 90%. So we can see I got an 83% for the informal. So I got a B. I'm happy with that. I didn't get it all done, but I got a B, which is a good grade in my opinion. So that's the formal. So now let's look at what I got for the informal. So same expectation, 6 times. We can see I did it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So my grade is quite a bit lower here, and I might not even get a B. I might get a C. So let's see if I can do this just now. It should only take a few minutes, and then I go from getting a C to getting a B. So a communication I had. See, so I guess I didn't really have a lot of communications. Yeah, I can't really think of one. Friday through, yeah, I had an easy week. I guess I had an online communication about practicing music. So what did you want? I just wanted to be listened to. That's really all I wanted. Wanted conversation about the music. I wanted a feeling of the music being alive and not dead and forgotten, which is hard to get when you're playing a very niche form of music, a traditional folk style from a foreign country. What did you actually get? I got a great lesson. And a recording. I got a wrong note. I was playing corrected. All right, and what do you think the other person wanted? What did they actually? They wanted to help. They wanted to not cheat. They wanted to teach. So they wanted to help. Wanted to teach. I think they also want a feeling of the music being alive. I think I am not the only person here that is aiming for that. And then how did you feel? I felt absolutely mesmerized. I had no idea I was playing a wrong note. I was playing a note wrong. So to hear it right was fascinating. I knew it sounded off, but I didn't know why until I was corrected. The correction opened up a new world. Because, believe it or not, playing the right note made it sound better. Okay, so what do you notice now as you recall this communication? Just curiosity. Wanting to learn more about how to hear properly, so that wrong notes like that become more obviously wrong to me. All right. So so there we go. I went from getting a C on it to getting a B. That's a good deal. All right, and then the other thing they wanted in week 6 was to finish all of the videos and the readings. So this is another one. Now, there were 2 readings that I didn't get through. There was the Heart of Nonviolent Communication, and then there was the Answer to Anger. Now, these are both fairly long ones. But you know, again, I can get a I feel like I don't have anger issues, so I feel like this kind of isn't as important to me. I can definitely get passionate about things, but like to just be like straight up vindictive and angry, like I feel like that doesn't happen very often. So like I think you know I can similarly go from perhaps getting a C for this week to getting an A, and to get an A plus I would need to do all the supplementary materials, but and sorry, I don't mean getting, you know, maybe I could get an A because I got a B for each of these. I got an A for the videos, so and then I'll probably still get a let's see here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I only did 4 out of the 5 readings if I do one more. So let's do 4 divided by 5. So that's a 0.8. Perfect. You know, I can get a B. So I get an A for the videos, watched all the videos. I can get a B for the reading if all I do is read these 2 pages. And then I get a B for the practice sheets. And then I don't get any extra credit. I guess that's another thing I could do is just read a few, watch a video or 2 of the supplemental materials for extra credit. Then I get an A for the week, because really it's just about getting the essence of the week. So even if I get a C for the week, I feel like that's the essence. Honestly, even if I get a D, that could be enough. It's just getting an F, which we can see means you've done 50%. You've done below 60% of what you were expected to do. That's not enough to get an essence of the week. So getting a B, even getting a C is plenty to move on. So let's finish this, and then I'll get a solid B on the course. There might even be an argument that I'm getting an A, but because, yeah, but let's, you know what? Yeah, if I do this for sure, that it's uncontroversial that for this week I would get a B. Okay, so The Heart of Nonviolent Communication, NVC, A Brief Introduction to the Concepts of NVC by Marshall Rosenberg, adapted from Nonviolent Communication, A Language of Life. And I have read this book a long time. I was going through hard times, and I reached out to someone, and they gave me this book to read, and it was the perfect book for me to read. So I believe compassion is our natural state of being, that it's natural to feel joy in giving and receiving from the heart. Accordingly, for most of my life, I've been preoccupied with 2 questions. What happens to disconnect us from our compassionate nature, leading us to behave violently or exploitatively? And conversely, what empowers some to stay connected to our compassionate nature, even under the worst circumstances? While studying the factors that affect our ability to stay compassionate, I was struck by the crucial role that language can play. While we may not consider the way we talk to be violent, words often lead to hurt and pain toward ourselves or to others. That's because so many of us have been trained to speak in terms of moralistic judgments, evaluations, and labels that disconnect us from compassion. I have since identified a specific approach to communicating called nonviolent communication, NVC, that gives us that leads us to give from the heart, connecting us in a way that allows our natural compassion to flourish. reconnecting to our natural state. NVC guides us to reframe how we express ourselves and how we hear others. Instead of habitual automatic reactions, our words become conscious responses based firmly on awareness of what we perceive, feel, and want in that moment. Within the framework of NVC, we're led to express ourselves with honesty and clarity while simultaneously paying others a respectful and empathetic connection. In any exchange, we come to hear our own deeper needs and those of others. NVC trains us to observe carefully and to specify behaviors and conditions that are affecting us. The form is simple and yet powerfully transformative. A way to focus attention. There is a story of a man on all fours. Oh yeah, this is great. I've heard this a lot, and this is clearly this is why I'm attracted to this sort of content. I want to focus my attention so that I can create a Jevons paradox. All right, so there is a story of a man on all fours under a street lamp searching for something. A policeman passing by asked what he was doing. "Looking for my car keys," replied the man, who appeared slightly drunk. "Did you drop..." Well, I hope he doesn't find his car keys. "Did you drop them here?" inquired the officer. "No," answered the man. "I dropped them in the alleyway." Seeing the policeman's baffled response, the man hastened to explain, "But the light is much better here." Like this story, I find that my cultural conditioning leads me to focus attention on places where I am unlikely to get what I want. I developed NVC as a way to train my attention on places that have the potential to yield what I am seeking. The use of NVC does not require that the persons with whom we are communicating be literate in NVC or even motivated to relate to us compassionately. If we stay motivated solely to give and receive compassionately and do everything we can to let others know this is our only motive, they will join us in the process, and eventually we will be able to respond compassionately to one another. I'm not saying that this always happens quickly. I do maintain, however, that compassion inevitably blossoms when we stay true to the principles and process of NVC. The NVC process. To arrive at a mutual desire to give from the heart, we focus the light of consciousness on four areas, as referred to as the four components of the NVC model. First, we observe what the others are saying or doing that is either enriching or not enriching our life. The trick is to be able to articulate this observation without introducing any judgment or evaluation. Next, we state how we feel when we observe this action. So it's Ofner, O-F-N-E-R. It's observing. And this is probably the hardest part because the trick is to be able to articulate this observation without introducing any judgment or evaluation, which is really hard to do. Next, we state how we feel when we observe this action. Are we hurt, scared, joyful, amused, irritated? And this one can be tricky as well because a lot of people kind of don't know what feelings are. They feel like, so they make analogies for their feelings. Or I feel like the answer isn't 2 + 2 = 5. I feel like it's 2 + 2.4. Well, that's thinking. You're not actually feeling. You can feel hurt, you can feel scared, you can feel joyful, you can feel amused, you can feel irritated. One of my favorite things about NVC is the lists. So NVC list of feelings. So you might need to retrain yourself to draw that distinction between to really learn what feelings actually are, because I feel like especially in which is a thought. So I think, and you don't have to correct yourself. It's not about I know that there's been like a online meme about NVC where like a guy was like saying like chastising someone for not using NVC. So it's not about kind of feeling like you're doing something in a better way. It's just about being able to allocate your attention, and it's about meeting needs. If you have an unmet need, if you feel like there's an unmet need in the context you're operating within, it's a method for being able to get that need met. That's it. So here's feelings. So right now, what am I feeling? I'm feeling kind of exhilarated, honestly. I like making YouTube videos. It's fun. So I'm feeling radiant, electrified, and then enthralled, I would say, as well. I don't really know what that means, but see what I mean? It's like I don't have a good sense of what the word enthrall actually means. So yeah, fascinated. Exactly. There we go. That's how I feel. So you can get a greater like vocabulary and a greater sense of yourself by like learning new words. Like, I didn't have a good understanding of what enthralled meant, so I looked it up, and now I can say that I do feel that as I make this YouTube video. Engaged, that's a big one too. Absorbed, I feel interested for sure. I feel open because I'm doing this. I wouldn't be doing this during my work hours. I wouldn't be feeling open at that time. So yeah, it feels so that's how I feel. Thirdly, we say what needs of ours are connected to the feelings we have identified, and this is a good one too, because why did I start this channel? What need did I have? That, like, why am I doing this, right? Like, you can answer that question much more easily if you know what your needs are. So like what did I need during the pandemic that I started this YouTube channel? And more importantly, that I keep doing it. Like, why didn't I just peter off and like stop doing this YouTube channel? Well, it's because I needed certain things, and doing this YouTube channel has met those needs. One of the things I needed, self-expression. That's a big one. I get to go on here and kind of speak my mind to an extent. I don't want to veer off course from the main topic, but that's I feel like I'm doing that to a higher degree when I'm making a piece of content rather than just sitting alone by myself reading a textbook. So the connection's probably a big one, is that. So I need communication, like to read it out loud and to feel like there might be an audience for it. Satisfies that unmet need if I would just sit and read a textbook on my own. Inspiration. Yeah, I think connection is kind of a big one. So a shared reality. I needed that with the JNCI ESP. I needed to know there are other people out there that were working on the test. It just felt like, I needed to see other people taking this test seriously. Like, it was an actual good thing to go for, even though there existed other tests like the CCIE. So that was a really big unmet need for me that the YouTube channel helped to see and be seen. That's one. So see what I mean here? It's like a lot of people wouldn't really know or wouldn't really think that there's a need to see and be seen, but humans are social creatures, right? Like that's one of the main advantage humans have over other animals is their social connectiveness. So a lot of people do have this need to see and be seen. So again, if I were to sit alone and read a textbook, being seen would that need would not be met. So hence the YouTube channel. So yeah, I need meaning, of course, competence. That's where if I were to sit alone and read the textbook, this need would be met. So it's not like I only have one option to make YouTube videos to meet my needs, but it's really important to kind of understand what you need, because if you have no sense of what you need, then needs can become unmet very easily because you don't even know what need you're trying to meet. So the NVC, I'm a huge fan of it. Huge fan. So thirdly, we say what needs of ours are connected to the feelings we have identified. And this is, a personal exercise. You can involve others in it who are trained in NVC, but somebody who doesn't know anything about NVC, you can try to teach on the fly, but that might come across as you coming from a place of being like, I'm the know-it-all superior communication person and you're communicating wrong. And that might cause, so an awareness of these three components is present when we use NVC to clearly and honestly express how we are. Now the key will come next. It's that R, because if you're trying to get others to do this, it's that R that's kind of not going right in the process, because it's all about you making a request. So if you're trying to get somebody else to make a request, it kind of breaks down. So here's some examples. So for example, a mother might express these three pieces to her teenage son by saying, Felix, when I see 2 balls of soiled socks under the coffee table and another 3 next to the TV, I feel irritated because I'm needing more order in the homes that we share in common. So she would follow immediately with a fourth component, a very specific request. Would you be willing to put your socks in your room or in the washing machine? So that's what it's all about, right? It is making a request and something. Oh, you're such a slob. Oh, why can't you do this and do that? It's like, asking for something very specific, where if that outcome happens, the problem is solved. All the needs are met. If it doesn't happen, there's you can collaborate. You can come up with a solution and get these unmet needs met. So we can see that the mother is needing more order in the rooms that we share. This fourth component addresses what we are wanting from the other person that would enrich our lives and make life more wonderful for us. Thus, part of NVC is to express these 4 pieces of information very clearly, whether verbally or by other means. The other part of this communication consists of receiving the same 4 pieces of information from others. We connect with them by first sensing what they are observing, feeling, and needing. Then we discover what would enrich their lives by receiving the 4th piece, their request. Yeah, so it is a two-way street. You do it yourself, but then if other people could do it too, the goal of this is to make very clear requests that solve specific unmet needs, and that obviously that sounds like it could be useful. As we keep our attention focused on the areas mentioned, we help others do likewise. We establish a flow of communication back and forth until compassion manifests naturally. What I am observing, feeling, and needing, what I am requesting to enrich my life, what you are observing, feeling, and needing, what you are requesting to enrich your life. The NVC process, the concrete actions we observe that affect our well-being, how we feel in relation to what we observe, the needs, values, desires, etc. that create our feelings, the concrete actions we request in order to enrich our lives. The essence of NVC is in our consciousness of the 4 components, not in the actual words that are exchanged. Yeah, and this I think is kind of profound, because again, if you're like, I feel like this, and someone's like, oh well, that's not a feeling, that's a thought, you did NVC all wrong. It's like, well, trying to do it is what is important. Like saying every little word exactly is not as important as the process of trying to identify what need is unmet and trying to make a request that could meet that unmet need. Applying NVC in our lives and world. When we use NVC in our interactions with ourselves, with another person, or in a group, we become grounded in our natural state of compassion. It is therefore an approach that can be effectively applied at all levels of communication and in diverse situations. Some people use NVC to create greater depth and caring in their intimate relationships. Others use it to build more effective relationships at work. Still, others use this process in the political arena. Worldwide, NVC now serves as a valuable resource for communities facing violent conflicts and severe ethnic, religious, or political tensions. I feel blessed to be able to travel throughout the world teaching people a process of communication that gives them power and joy. Now with my book, he's selling a book, buy his book, it costs $1 million. Or it's now, and it's on sale for yeah. All right, so there we go. I went from getting a C to getting uncontroversially a B. So now it's time for week 7. Unfortunately, I'm late to the game with week 7, but I do have some more time here. I've got about 15 minutes. So what I'll do is read the description of week 7, maybe all the quotes if I've got time, and then download the worksheets to my Mbsr folder. It looks like week 7's a little bit easier. We've got a lot of supplementary materials, so we could get an A+ if we go all through those. We could also probably, if I'm only getting a D or a C, we could probably get some extra credit by doing this. For example, if I can't get my formal practices done because I just don't have enough time, we can knock off some supplementary materials and make up the difference with extra credit. All right, but for now, let's read about week 7. It's mindfulness and compassion, loving kindness, meditation, and walking meditation. So we're going to have 2 different kinds of meditations introduced this week. Up to this point in the course, compassion has played a subtle but important role in our meditation practice. In fact, compassion, and especially self-compassion, may be the most important component of Mbsr. It's the oil, and not snake oil, that makes the gears of mindfulness work. Without it, the practices are at best dry, and at worst, harsh and counterproductive. At the heart of our lack of compassion for ourselves is the lie that many of us grew up with. In order to be successful, we must not only work hard, and we must be hard on ourselves. So let's come to an agreement here of what compassion actually means. To do that, I like looking at the dictionary. The dictionary is not it's not like the law of like what words mean. So there are definitely regional meanings and there are personal meanings of words. But to agree upon what the meaning of a word more broadly, I think a good place to start is by looking up the word in the dictionary. So the definition of compassion is sympathetic pity and concern for the sufferings and misfortunes of others. Okay, which kind of, for me, like, leaves a lot to be desired. So the Wikipedia article on compassion says it's a social feeling that motivates people to go out of their way to relieve the physical, mental, and pains of others and themselves. So, so like hugging is a common display of compassion. Perfect. All right, so, and I did not spill my drink. I moved my hand and I brushed against the side of it, but I did not hit the center of it, which would have caused it to spill, which is great. All right, so at the heart of our, in some mindfulness courses, the linkage between mindfulness and compassion is not very explicit, focusing almost exclusively on strengthening concentration and the ability to stay with the present moment experience. And I'll do a sound check half an hour in to make sure I didn't lose a whole half an hour here. So there we go. This has made the mindfulness movement vulnerable to the argument that, for instance, there could be such thing as a mindful terrorist or a mindful bank robber, right? That's good to bring up, because, like, what do we do when, you know, you're being robbed? Should we be mindful and compassionate to the person robbing you? So that's a good question. Of course, something seems very wrong with this. Since kindness and compassion are at the core of almost every meditative tradition. This week, we explore our natural tendency to connect and care about others, and consider the value and potential of being compassionate, even beyond our closest relationships. So there's probably some sort of, So this is probably. We'll address that here, overcoming objections. So that'll probably take on that idea of when to be compassionate and when not to be. All right, so videos and reading. In the first video, We Are Built to Be Kind by Dacher Keltner of UC Berkeley, provides evidence for the idea that we as humans have a deep-seated inclination to care for others. The article Survival of the Kindest indicates that even Darwin believed this. As natural as the capacity for compassion is, Matthew Ricard, a Buddhist monk who has logged 50,000 hours of meditation practice, whatever that means. I don't know where he logged it. And who also has a PhD in cellular genetics, which is cool, makes the case for consciously supporting this capacity in the video, Cultivating Altruism. We also explore the natural linkages there are with mindfulness and compassion in Shauna Shapiro's video, How Mindfulness Cultivates Compassion, and her article, Does Mindfulness Make You Compassionate? In our culture, it can be argued that the person we are least kind to is ourselves. In the video, Overcoming Objections to Self-Compassion, and the article, The 5 Myths of Self-Compassion, Kristen Neff explores misconceptions about self-compassion, including the belief that motivation requires self-criticism, and the idea that being kinder to ourselves makes us complacent and less effective. So this might extend to that thought puzzle of being robbed and having altruism and compassion for the person robbing you. This might have some insights into that. All right, so daily practices. This week we will introduce 2 new meditations, the loving kindness meditation and the walking meditation. Choose one day to do the loving kindness meditation and another to do the walking meditation. And on the 2 remaining days, you can choose any of the practices you've learned so far, including these 2. The recorded guidance for the walking meditation is short. Oh, thank goodness. Only 6 minutes. So on the day you do this practice, continue on your... Oh, okay, for the remaining... So you just listen to it for 6 minutes and then take a walk. For the remaining 4 minutes of your 30 minutes of practice for that day, note if you are unable to walk without pain, it is fine to do one of the other practices that you've learned so far in place of the walking meditation. For the informal practice, on any given day, you may choose any of the practices... Oh my god, okay. Well, you've experienced so far... such as simple awareness, mindful eating, stop turning toward, including the walking meditation that you are learning this week. As before, enter each day's informal meditation on the practice sheet. All right, so that brings me to the last thing I'll do here, which is get the practice sheets downloaded into the correct folder. All right, and then I'll take a look at the sheet. So the informal, oh, I see. So yeah, these are the so yeah, I want to do mindful eating because I'm trying to lose weight. So what was the situation? What process did you use? So yeah, these are the acute methods you can use, like the stop exercise. Remember that? What the stop exercise is stop, then take a breath or just notice your breath, then observe. Observe beyond your breath and then out towards the external situation, and then proceed now that you've had a chance to catch your breath. All right, so then turning toward walking. So these are all things from the prior week that we can go back and review. So the example was cleaning the garage and getting frustrated, and used simple awareness. So there we go. All right, so let's look at the other one. All right, so we've got we're gonna use do 2 of these meditations. So let's fill this out. This one will be the loving kindness. All right, and then tomorrow will be the walking. Although I do not have a lot of time because I have created a Jevons paradox. All right, so walking, and then we can do any of them for the remaining days. I want to try to do yoga, so let's put that down there. All right, there we go. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.